What's up, guys? I'm DK, and you're watching Pro Wrestling What If, the series where I look at the different what if scenarios as terms of the world that we call professional wrestling. John Cena has had a career that spanned across 25 years with moments and matches at the biggest party of the summer. Some matches were great, like his 2016 match against AJ Styles that's regarded as one of the best of his career. Then some matches were not the greatest, like the longest squash match in 2014 against Brock Lesnar that created Suplex City. Now that John Cena is about to have his final SummerSlam match against Cody Rhodes, what would his career have been like had his SummerSlam matches been different? So that's going to be the topic of today's video. We're going to be discussing what if every John Cena SummerSlam match was different. We're going to be going through every SummerSlam that John Cena was a part of, starting off with 2004 up until the 2025 event. Just like I did with the WrestleMania video, I will also be including the SummerSlam events he wasn't a part of as a bit of a bonus to this video. However, that will only apply to the events while being full-time with WWE, as it's not likely for him to be at SummerSlam, unlike WrestleMania, while part-time. And if you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share this to all your friends, subscribe, and press the notification bell for when future episodes get released, and leave a comment down below about today's topic or suggesting a future topic for an episode of Pro Wrestling What If. So we're going to kick off with the first SummerSlam while being a part of the company, which was 2002, which I think John Cena would have had a match with Reverend Devon. John Cena, surprisingly enough, was not a part of this, considering he had debuted a few months prior and even had a match at the prior pay-per-view of Vengeance with a victory against Chris Jericho. However, this event was stacked, and if anything, this would have been a match on the Sunday Night Heat portion of the show. After being sent to SmackDown during the draft, Devon Dudley, now known as Reverend Devon, would begin the rise as being one of the top heels of the brand. John Cena and Reverend Devon would work various matches throughout 2002, so there could have been a match between the two here. And as terms of the result, I think John Cena would have won the match. The Reverend Devon gimmick was already going downhill at this point, even though I always found it to be very underrated. Having his enforcer Deacon Batista leave his side shortly around this time, and Devon would have a short stint being in a tag team with Ron Simmons, leading to both Batista and Devon going to Raw, where Batista would align himself with Triple H, while Devon would reform the Dudley Boys at Survivor Series with Bubba Ray. For SummerSlam 2003, I think John Cena would have had a match with Tajiri. Once again, we have another SummerSlam that John Cena was left off of. Even at this point, he had been on the rise by becoming the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick he had developed near the end of 2002. When it comes to Tajiri, I don't think he necessarily needed to be a part of the United States Championship match at SummerSlam. The only reason Tajiri was involved was Eddie Guerrero turning his back on him after they had been tag team champions. I think they could have done that match as a triple threat, since Rhino was the one who took the fall during that match and was the cause of Eddie Guerrero winning the title at Vengeance the month prior. With John Cena having already suffered multiple pay-per-view losses, including Brock Lesnar at Backlash and the month prior to Undertaker at Vengeance, he would be winning this match. Tajiri had nothing going on after SummerSlam and even turned heel to freshen up his character, while John Cena would end up being Eddie Guerrero's next challenger for the United States Championship by having that parking lot brawl. Now going on to John Cena's first actual SummerSlam event, being 2004, where he ended up challenging Booker T in match 1 of the best of 7 series for the United States Championship. But had it not been that match, I think it would have been against Rene Dupree in a number 1's contender match. John Cena was beginning a rise as a babyface, even winning the United States Championship from Big Show at WrestleMania 20. He would go on to feud with Booker T, where he'd lose the title to him shortly after the Great American Bash. Although I'm not against the idea of a match between Cena and Dupree at SummerSlam, the problem here is that they already had a singles match at Judgment Day when Cena was still champion. You couldn't do a Fatal 4-Way match with the title like the year prior, since they already had a match involving Rob Van Dam the prior pay-per-view at the Great American Bash. So the easiest switch would have been to place Rene Dupree with John Cena, while Rob Van Dam challenges Booker T for the United States Championship at SummerSlam, especially since Rob Van Dam and Rene Dupree already had a match during the Sunday Night Heat portion of the show. With WWE already having invested a lot in John Cena at this point, I do see a world where his match would be on the main show, then the United States Championship match would have actually been defended on Sunday Night Heat due to the lack of spots on the card. With John Cena staying in the United States Championship picture after this, he would have defeated Rene Dupree in this match. For SummerSlam 2005, his match was defending the WWE Championship against Chris Jericho, but had it not been that match, I think he would have been defending the WWE Championship against Kurt Angle. It had been noted by Kurt Angle during his podcast that after his WrestleMania 21 win, he would begin a World Heavyweight Championship program with Batista over the summer. However, as Kurt Angle would get drafted to Raw, Batista would be drafted to SmackDown and bring the World Heavyweight Championship with them. With John Cena recently getting drafted to Raw, it almost looked like Angle's world title program would still happen until more plans had to change. The original idea for Chris Jericho during this event was to feud with Carlito over the Intercontinental Championship, until Chris Jericho had negotiated for his short-term contract extension that he would have a WWE Championship match on his way out rather than the Intercontinental Championship, which is why I believe Kurt Angle had ended up having a short-term feud with Eugene going into SummerSlam, then starting the feud with John Cena going into the Unforgiven pay-per-view a month later, as this was supposed to be the summer program Angle was going to have. If we had lived in a timeline where either Jericho doesn't re-sign or goes after the Intercontinental Championship, then I think the Angle-Cena match would have begun here for SummerSlam 2005. For SummerSlam 2006, John Cena had challenged Edge for the WWE Championship, but had it not been this match, I think it would have been a triple threat match involving Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam had won the WWE Championship from John Cena at One Night Stand and was expected to continue his push until he was arrested with drug possession and would be forced to drop both the WWE and ECW championships. John Cena and Edge had been feuding with each other throughout the majority of 2006, and the only thing different that I would have seen change with their SummerSlam match would be to add Rob Van Dam into it as a triple threat. After Rob Van Dam lost the title, he never ended up receiving a rematch, which I think he could have at SummerSlam. Even though we already saw a triple threat between these three, perhaps we could have done it as an elimination style match to make it a little bit different here. For SummerSlam 2007, John Cena had defended the WWE Championship against Randy Orton, but had it not been this match, I think he would have defended the championship against King Booker. This was a bit difficult considering all signs were pointing at having the first singles pay-per-view match between Cena and Orton at SummerSlam. King Booker and Randy Orton switching places would have made sense considering Randy Orton had taken out Shawn Michaels, putting him on the shelf with a punt which would cause Triple H to return and get revenge for Randy Orton's attack. Then King Booker would challenge John Cena for the WWE Championship, with John Cena retaining, not only since the Orton-Cena feud would happen after, but then the timing of Booker T's suspension that led to him being granted his release from the WWE. For SummerSlam 2008, John Cena had faced Batista in a first-time ever singles match, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have teamed with Batista against Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase for the World Tag Team Championships. At this point, WWE knew that they wanted to run the first ever Batista-John Cena singles match after having them separated on different brands for years. It's a little surprising that they had it at SummerSlam instead of saving it for WrestleMania, which they planned the second match for. So perhaps in a world where they saved the first match for WrestleMania, then WWE would have at least teased the idea for SummerSlam. John Cena and Batista on the road to SummerSlam had won the World Tag Team Championships from Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase and would drop the titles back to them before their match at SummerSlam. If they didn't do the singles match, I think they could have pushed this tag team match to SummerSlam so John Cena and Batista would be on the card, as well as featuring Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase since they didn't have a match on the card of this event. This would mean that it's likely to see both John Cena and Batista not suffer the respective injuries they endured during their singles match, thus being able to have the singles match they were going to have at WrestleMania 25 instead of the following year at 26. For SummerSlam 2009, John Cena had challenged Randy Orton for the WWE Championship, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have had a singles match against The Miz. To determine Randy Orton's opponent for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam, a Beat the Clock challenge would happen on the July 27, 2009 episode of Raw. Mark Henry would set the pace by defeating Carlito in 6 minutes and 49 seconds that no one was able to beat until John Cena when he defeated The Miz. In this timeline, John Cena wouldn't have been able to beat the clock, and it would be Mark Henry to challenge Randy Orton at SummerSlam 2 years before that actually happened at Night of Champions. Although Triple H winning the Beat the Clock would have been an option, it would have been overkill. Plus, Plus, Triple H was needed for the storyline involving Shawn Michaels, who hadn't been seen since his loss to Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. The John Cena Miz match makes sense not only due to the Beat the Clock challenge they just did, but due to the two already having a match at the Bash 2009, so this could have been a continuation of that, with John Cena going to inevitably be the guy to dethrone Randy Orton as WWE Champion. He would be picking up the win against The Miz. For SummerSlam 2010, John Cena had joined Team WWE to take on Team Nexus in the 7-on-7 elimination tag team match, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have faced Sheamus for the WWE Championship. Many people would have probably wished for John Cena to have a different match at SummerSlam 2010, considering it was the night that the Nexus were pretty much buried and couldn't regain the momentum they had going once they lost. For John Cena to not have been a part of the Nexus match, this would have been in a timeline where John Cena would have defeated Sheamus in their steel cage match at Money in the Bank the month prior, thus becoming the brand new WWE Champion and having Sheamus invoke his rematch clause at SummerSlam. With John Cena out of the tag team elimination match, this would have meant that the Nexus would have indeed won the match and officially solidified themselves as a dominant force in the WWE, potentially leading to the Nexus capturing more titles than just the tag team championships, including the idea of Wade Barrett actually winning the WWE Championship itself. Then the Nexus storyline would have played out better throughout the rest of 2010 and going into 2011 without the whole new Nexus angle with CM Punk.
Shoutout goes to Jackson Weingart, Jada Sanchez, Fox Starkiller, Lola Pines, Hayden Sarabo, Skullchin, Wesley Conklin, Mr. Randomizer, The Real Samuel Randall 1990, Quiet Ninja Riot, and Spidey Fan Productions 2003.
And the reason that they ended up getting a shout out is because they joined our YouTube channel membership, which only cost $1.99 a month. Not only do you get the shout out, but you do get lots of other perks, including early access to every single video and shorts that we produce on this channel. So definitely consider joining our YouTube channel membership. It will be greatly appreciated and will go a long way of helping out this channel a lot. So definitely consider it, but let's get right back to the video. For SummerSlam 2011, John Cena had faced CM Punk to determine an undisputed WWE champion, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have defended the WWE Championship against Rey Mysterio. At Money in the Bank the month prior, CM Punk had defeated John Cena to become the new WWE Champion and walked out of the company with the title as it was the last night of his current contract. A tournament was held to determine a new WWE Champion, which was won by Rey Mysterio defeating The Miz. Later on that same night, John Cena would challenge Rey Mysterio and defeat him to become the WWE Champion once again, a moment that still haunts Rey Mysterio fans to this day. After the match, the song Cult of Personality by Living Colour would play and we would see the return of CM Punk after only being gone for 2 weeks. If WWE wouldn't run Cena and Punk at SummerSlam, then I think Rey Mysterio would have gotten the opportunity at the championship once again, resulting in John Cena retaining the championship, still leading to the same moment we got with CM Punk's return, but taking place at the end of SummerSlam instead of Raw, making the match between the two the following month at Night of Champions, which seemed more fitting since their match was to unify the two WWE championships. For SummerSlam 2012, John Cena had competed in a triple threat match against Big Show and CM Punk for the WWE Championship, but had it not been that match, I think it would have simply been a singles match between John Cena and CM Punk. I get why Big Show was added to the match not only due to the events that took place during Raw 1000, but he was definitely used as the fall guy of the match to protect both John Cena and CM Punk. However, I think you could have protected Cena and Punk without Big Show being added to the match by either doing some sort of countout or disqualification victory, or you could have done the exact same finish as their match the following month at Night of Champions with the double pinfall, resulting in the match being a no contest, thus allowing CM Punk to retain the WWE Championship without actually having John Cena lose. The other match I could think of John Cena doing at SummerSlam 2012 would be a singles match against the Big Show, but who would end up facing CM Punk for the WWE Championship? For SummerSlam 2013, John Cena had defended the WWE Championship against Daniel Bryan, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have defended the title against Seth Rollins. For SummerSlam 2013, John Cena had the opportunity to choose his opponent, which after hearing the reaction from the crowd, he chose to face Daniel Bryan. Now, in this timeline, I do think that scenario would still happen, but a little twist would occur. Daniel Bryan would get attacked backstage, which would be unknown at the time who the attacker attacker was and would force Daniel Bryan to back out of the match, leading to John Cena needing a new opponent, and we hear the Shield's music play with all three members coming from the crowd on their way to the ring. The Shield were all holding championship gold, with Dean Ambrose holding the United States Championship and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns holding the tag team championships, but a world championship wasn't obtained in the group. Seth Rollins would be the one to challenge John Cena, considering Dean Ambrose had already defended the United States Championship on the pre-show, and I don't think they would have had Roman Reigns in that position just yet. John Cena would retain the WWE Championship, but out comes Randy Orton teasing a Money in the Bank cash-in. Triple H does the same thing to John Cena as he did to Daniel Bryan by hitting him with the pedigree, allowing Randy Orton to cash in and successfully win the WWE Championship. John Cena needed to have surgery on his elbow, which is why he had dropped the title in the first place. Daniel Bryan would make his return shortly after SummerSlam, with it getting revealed that it was Orton who attacked Daniel Bryan, thus being able to still have the rivalry they did throughout 2013-2014. For SummerSlam 2014, John Cena had defended the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Brock Lesnar. But had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have had a regular singles match against Cesaro. The only thing that made this scenario a bit difficult is that Brock Lesnar was going to challenge for the world title after ending Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. So if it wasn't John Cena that would walk in as champion, then I think the only high caliber star from that Money in the Bank ladder match to take that spot would have been Randy Orton. My logic with Cesaro being put with John Cena here is due to having him been a Paul Heyman guy around this time. And even though that their partnership dissolved on the Raw after Battleground 2014, I think that that would have been delayed in this timeline, allowing John Cena to go through a Paul Heyman guy as a stepping stone in order to inevitably face Brock Lesnar when he wins the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and still be able to have the match with Brock Lesnar when it comes to Night of Champions the following month. One thing that comes to mind though is that if John Cena doesn't face Brock Lesnar, does this mean that we don't witness the birth of Suplex City? For SummerSlam 2015, John Cena had faced Seth Rollins in a winner-takes-all match for both the United States and WWE World Heavyweight Championships. But had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have defended the United States Championship against Kevin Owens. Before SummerSlam 2015, John Cena was in a feud with Kevin Owens, who had recently made his main roster debut and had been called up from NXT. He would defeat John Cena in his pay-per-view debut at Elimination Chamber in a non-title match, followed by John Cena defeating Kevin Owens in another non-title match at Money in the Bank, and then one final match between the two at Battleground that had the United States Championship on the line, with John Cena retaining. In order for John Cena to not go on to face Seth Rollins would have meant that his feud with Kevin Owens would have continued, which I think for their match at Battleground, it would have ended in some sort of no contest finish, leading to one last match between the two for the United States Championship to take place at SummerSlam with the stipulation in place. As for Seth Rollins in this timeline, WWE would have probably bumped his match with Sting to SummerSlam instead of taking place a month later at Night of Champions. John Cena would retain the United States Championship against Kevin Owens, and we would still have the winner-takes-all match, but taking place a month later at Night of Champions, which felt more fitting to see someone walk out with two championships at an event called Night of Champions if it wasn't at a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam. For SummerSlam 2016, John Cena had went one-on-one with AJ Styles, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have challenged Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship. The way we don't get John Cena versus AJ Styles is if John Cena had ended up winning the six-pack challenge on the July 26, 2016 episode of SmackDown, which gave the winner a shot at the WWE Championship against Dean Ambrose at SummerSlam, which was won by Dolph Ziggler in the real timeline. If John Cena didn't have a high-profile singles match with AJ Styles, then there's no doubt in my mind that he would have been put in the WWE Championship picture at a big event like SummerSlam, where I believe that John Cena would have ended up defeating Dean Ambrose and become the new WWE Champion and become a 16-time world champion 5 months before he actually did. Although John Cena wasn't on TV after SummerSlam due to the loss against AJ Styles at the event, he was still working house shows and dark matches on both Raw and SmackDown before he returned to TV for the build-up to No Mercy 2016. John Cena would have been on TV in this timeline and hold the WWE Championship until either Backlash or No Mercy, since he would be leaving for Hollywood for a few months shortly after. AJ Styles would have
still won the WWE Championship around this time, as he was placed to be the top heel of the SmackDown Live brand and carry it throughout the rest of 2016 going into 2017. What I'm not sure still happens is John Cena winning it from AJ Styles at Royal Rumble, since he already won the title, especially since he would then have become a 17-time world champion at that point 8 years earlier than he did. For SummerSlam 2017, John Cena had a singles match against Baron Corbin, but had it not been that match, I think he would have challenged Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship. John Cena had begun his part-time schedule in 2017, where he was gone from WrestleMania 33 until the July 4th, 2016 episode of SmackDown due to his Hollywood schedule. This match could have happened between the two if John Cena had defeated Shinsuke Nakamura on the August 1st, 2017 episode of SmackDown to become #1 contender. However, it's kind of hard to imagine Nakamura being able to recover from such a loss that not only might not have him in the title hunt at Hell in a Cell, but also not be able to win the Royal Rumble match in 2018 and go on to WrestleMania 34 with this match with AJ Styles. In the real timeline, John Cena and Jinder Mahal had a match on the August 15th, 2017 episode of SmackDown, and I think their SummerSlam match would have ended a bit similar to that match. Instead of the match ending in a disqualification, I think Baron Corbin would still cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase and make the match a triple threat. Still having Baron Corbin fail his cash in by being pinned by Jinder Mahal, and it doesn't allow John Cena to take the fall while losing. John Cena at this time wasn't a part of the SmackDown Live brand like in 2016, but rather a free agent and went to any show. His time on SmackDown would be over after SummerSlam, as he would go on to Raw to begin the face versus face rivalry with Roman Reigns that had their match at No Mercy the following month. For SummerSlam 2021, John Cena had challenged Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship, but had it not been that match, I think John Cena would have challenged Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. John Cena's appearances were becoming more limited as the years went by, with the last pay-per-view match he had prior to SummerSlam 2021 being WrestleMania 36. At this point, it made sense for John Cena to try and achieve the 17th World Championship, especially against an unstoppable force at the time being Roman Reigns, who was about to hit 1 year as Universal Champion. Another unstoppable force at the time was Bobby Lashley, who had held the WWE Championship at the time, so the easy way is to simply switch challengers for both world champions, where Roman Reigns faces Goldberg, which was originally supposed to happen at WrestleMania 36, then having John Cena challenge Bobby Lashley, which would have been the first match between the two since their WWE Championship match at the Great American Bash 2007. A match where Bobby Lashley wasn't able to pull off the victory and might have some doubt going into the match. However, Bobby Lashley would have been able to defeat John Cena this time around due to being more experienced now than over 10 years ago. Plus, due to John Cena's Hollywood commitments that would have us not see him again until the tag team match with Kevin Owens against the Bloodline on the December 30th, 2022 episode of SmackDown. And last but not least, SummerSlam 2025, where he'll be going into the event defending the undisputed WWE Championship against Cody Rhodes. But had it not been that match, it would have been John Cena defending the title against Randy Orton. This, of course, would have been in a timeline where Randy Orton had won the King of the Ring tournament finals instead of the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. Another option would have been CM Punk, but that would have been only in a world where Night of Champions had been cancelled due to the issues going on in the Middle East, thus having the match we had between CM Punk and John Cena at Night of Champions be postponed to SummerSlam. If we had two John Cena R-Truth matches and are about to have two John Cena Cody Rhodes matches, then it would have made sense to run back John Cena and Randy Orton if it wasn't Cody Rhodes here. Even though when it came to the John Cena Randy Orton match they had at Backlash, they had promoted it as one last time. Due to the fact that WWE is clearly trying to tell us that Cody Rhodes is going to dethrone John Cena, then Randy Orton would once again fail his opportunity at preventing John Cena from quote-unquote ruining wrestling. Then having the Cody Rhodes John Cena match take place a few weeks later at Clash in Paris, where both superstars are scheduled to be at that event.